Hi, this is your host, Kristen Howe, and I would like to welcome you to today's call. I am so pleased to welcome Christie Marie Sheldon. Christie is an amazing author, intuitive life coach, and transformation expert. Over the past 15 years, Christie has spoken on top 10 radio shows, on seminars, and she's conducted over 10,000 private consultations for clients, including renowned authors, political, and business leaders. Christie firmly believes that if enough people raise their vibrations to the energy of love or above, we can restore love on the planet. Using her intuitive guidance, she facilitates change into your future so you never have to repeat your self-destructive patterns again. She wants to show you how to turn on your spiritual gifts, make your inner light brighter, and start living from the vibration of love. On today's call, you'll discover the one powerful thing that surrounds us at all times, but we don't know how to manage it. How to remove the most common block that keeps most of us stuck. How there are two versions of yourself and the important role they play in the 5 key areas of your life. And the one step you must take if you want to change your life. Then, later in the call, Christie will guide us in a powerful meditation to unblock our natural manifesting potential by adding higher energetic frequencies to align with our desires. Finally, Christie will reveal specific tools you can use to instantly raise your energetic frequency to the level of 500 and above, and you'll understand what we mean by that very, very soon. So, Christie, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to the call.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I love to connect to people and help them learn how to raise their vibrations.
Well, fantastic, and we can't wait. With everything I just said we're going to learn, we're so excited. What I'd love to do before we jump into all of the details is have you share with us for a few minutes, some of the things that you think were major turning points in your life that allowed you to manifest your current level of success.
Well, I always laugh at myself. I actually love the word weird because if you look up the definition of weird, it actually means supernatural. And I was not the average kid. I was in 7th grade, and I remember going to the library looking for truth because I was like, what I am seeing doesn't make sense to me, So it's been my lifelong quest for truth that I really think opened up all the doors for me. And I had a couple of major, little turning points in my spiritual journey, one of which was, I remember standing on the L tracks in Chicago, and for those of you know, those are like metal platforms, freezing my tush off. It just turned cold. I don't have my coat with me, or my fall coat, and it's like winter now, and I'm freezing. And I'm like, something has to change. I am not going to live like this anymore, Like my little prayer to the universe for something to change that catapulted me literally walking into a bookstore within a week, and a book, literally without me touching it, I didn't touch anything on the shelf, but fell off the bookshelf, right in front of me. And I remember picking it up thinking, the first thought that kind of popped in my head was, this is truth, So I was like, that's kind of cool. In the book, it kind of showed me how to manifest something, and it was about visualization. So I started visualizing my future, how I wanted it. And the first thing I wanted was to live somewhere warm. So I thought, Florida would be good. And the second thing is, I wanted happiness, and I wanted to be with a man, and I wanted it to be gorgeous and fun, and I wanted to have wealth because at the time I was working full-time, going to college, and I was so broke. I worked at a restaurant so I could feed myself. I'm sure a lot of people have been there. And I wrote everything down that I was going to manifest, in a diary. And a year and a half later, I had it. I literally had. It sounds kind of ridiculous to a lot of people, but I had the red Mercedes convertible. I had the condo in Florida. I had a place in Chicago. I had a really great guy. I had a wealthy lifestyle. So,
Wow.
And I know. And seriously, for me, I really do know that it was me connecting to certain vibrations that made that happen. Now, I didn't exactly know how it all worked, so then it became my lifelong quest to figure out, well, how did I make that work? And my quest was also because I knew in some part of me that I just really wanted to help other people, because I didn't want to be the only one having so much fun. I wanted other people to join me. because everyone who knows me that knows that that's really my main drive in life is like, how can everybody have this and how can everybody have lots of fun and let's all play and have a cool life. So that the awareness of the how honestly didn't show up for me until, I don't know, about 10 years later. So second turning point was literally these guides, you can call them, light beings, angels, guides, whatever you want to call them, from the spiritual side, kind of literally showed up in my living room and they said, hey, we're going to show you how to help people. Within a short amount of time, they were another crazy, my stories are so crazy sometimes that I don't, they're a little unbelievable to me, but, and I live them. So I woke up one morning, I decided, hey, I'm going to go to this chiropractor, and I felt like my back was kind of tweaked, and I literally opened the phone book, picked what I thought was a random chiropractor, Yeah. So I go to the chiropractor, and he says, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I don't know. I guess I'm supposed to start helping people. And I was kind of like evasive, like, what am I supposed to say? Hey, these beings showed up in my living room, and I'm supposed to help people? Like, it's not like a normal conversation. He goes, honestly, are you kind of connected? Because I'm hearing that I'm supposed to send you this guide, been to all these chiropractors, and nobody can fix them. And I'm really hearing from my guides that you can fix them. I'm like, okay, we'll send him over. So he came over, and I saw what happened. He smoked pot when he was 18. This weird energy kind of got into his body. I pulled it out, and I said, let me know what happens. And what I didn't know, because I never ask people for their stories, is I didn't know that this poor guy couldn't sit for more than 20 minutes, and I didn't know that he couldn't, really move around. He could walk, but he couldn't lift things and move things. And so he calls me 2 weeks later, and he's like, I got to come over. And he said, Christie, I woke up with a dream, and in the dream, I was sitting in all sorts of chairs, like short chairs, tall chairs, like a throne, and I jumped out of bed. He goes, and I literally did jump out of bed. And I sat in all these chairs, and my back didn't hurt. And then I thought, well, God, this is too good to be true. It can't be that easy. So he said, I waited a little bit. There was a guy building a shed in my backyard, and he was doing a crappy job, so I fired him. And again, what you don't know is I can't, go up a ladder, lift things, bend over, pound things. I haven't been able to do that for 20-something years. So I did that, and my back doesn't hurt anymore. It was as much a gift for him as it was for me to know that at the end of the day, if you release negative energy, then something can change,
Wow.
Yeah. So again, it was what I think my gift is that I'm willing to go along with crazy things and just see if it works. So I don't have a lot of judgment about, judging things or stopping the flow or getting in my way. Tip number one for everybody listening is if you can really just sometimes follow what feels light and right, even if it doesn't make sense, that was probably the thing that opened the most doors for me. So
I love that. It's such a unique way of looking at it, but it's so true because I'm sure we can all think of times in our life where it's like, I don't know why I did that, but look at what happened. Let me ask you this. You say there is one powerful thing that surrounds us at all times, no matter where we are, and we don't know how to manage it. So what's that?
It's all about energy. Yes. So when I was working on, the guy that I fixed his back, all I did was in my mind's eye, I saw a picture of an energy that was in his back. And so I literally just, in my mind's eye, pulled it out. What I really truly believe is that everything is created from the energy place first. There's even studies that kind of show that, there's a Dr. William Broad, and he talks about how we can take cells and using our thoughts and our mind affect the rate at which they die, okay? So we have the ability to positively, using energy, using thoughts, create either harmony in our world or disharmony. And the disharmony, when people say, well, I'm such a good person, then why did this bad thing happen to me? Why does all this stuff happen to me? Somewhere, subconscious to you maybe, hidden from you, picked up from your parents, you have some energy that's kind of a little bit lower frequency that's somehow creating all those weird things showing up in your life. And there's a chart, like after I had been working on people for a while, I found this cool book by Dr. David Hawkins, and he talks about how there's a scale of, he calls it the scale of consciousness. It's also kind of like the scale of energy, right? The book kind of illustrated what I was finding in clients is the ones that had the most guilt and shame took longer to change than those that were, had a different kind of vibration. So let me explain the chart so people can kind of understand.
Great.
So imagine there's a chart 0 to 1,000, and 1,000 is a enlightened being like a Buddha, Jesus, all those beings. And at the lowest part of the scale is shame. So let's just say shame is at the level of 20. Now, shame means, like, how many of you have ever thought, listening, I am not enough? That's literally what shame means. If you have that belief or thought or feeling, I am not enough, that's one of the greatest beliefs or subconscious things that's going to get in the way of your manifestations. A little bit higher than that is guilt. So what do we do as, what do parents do, right? You are bad. You are a bad girl and boy, and that energy, again, is only 20 or 30. So if you think you're bad, you're not going to let yourself have all the good stuff. How many people say, well, I don't want to really ask for that because I feel bad that I'm asking for that. Well, if you feel bad, you're putting this weird kink on your manifestation, basically. I always say, if you're going to eat the sugar cookie, just eat the sugar cookie and love it. Don't feel bad about eating because you're putting all that weird energy in your body. Okay, and above that is like apathy, where you just don't care. Adolf Hitler's energy measured around 45, so he was somewhere between guilt and apathy. So at some level, he did know what he was doing was not right. Grief is 75. Fear is 100. So if you're very fearful, anxious, all that kind of stuff. Now, this is an interesting one. If you think that your God is like a fearful God or a vengeful God, that's a really low vibration, and it's not going to help your manifesting. So, yeah, it's kind of, if you have the belief that your God is benevolent and cares for you and will help you get what you want, that opens the door for a lot more positive manifestations to show up. Now, anger is the energy of 150 on this scale. Now, the thing about anger, I love anger because if somebody's in a lower vibration of guilt, shame, apathy, or grief, or fear, and they bump up into anger, like when I'm working with them, I love it because what I know for sure is this anger is like a moving energy where they're kind of like, I have had enough. I am not going to live in that space anymore, Right. So a lot of people back away from anger, but when I see it in somebody, I'm like, cool, they've had enough, They're not going to take it anymore. The next layers of energy kind of come up into courage, and that's a level of 200. Now, as a planet, as a whole, our average is above 200, which is still like courageous, but 200 was kind of the make or break point. When we were below 200, still in the 80s, 70s, a little bit in the 90s, we were still below 200. It was harder for our planet to evolve, And so as a group, we've passed the 200 level, so at least we're more into courage and willingness to change and all that kind of stuff. At 310 is willingness, so at least we're willing for something to be different. 350 is actually where we have hope, right? Because we can, or willingness is like we're hopeful that something can change, and acceptance, the next level at 350 is we know something can change. So it's like powerful when we get up into, one of the worst things we can take away from somebody is hope, because if they have no hope, then like they're in apathy. Why would they even go for it, Right. Reasoning is at the 400s to 500s. That's where the sciences live, where we got to prove things, and we use science to calibrate and prove things. And the energy of love is 500. Now, love is an interesting energy because one person operating at the level of love, their energy field can positively impact 750,000 other people operating below 200. So if you have like one person in your family who's like, their natural vibe is all about love and care and, kindness and understanding and all that kind of, feel good energy. that one family member can kind of uplift all the other family members. After a while, it's like your field kind of trains the other fields around you. Now, people still have free will. They have to choose it at some level. But as long as they're kind of choosing things and allowing that love in, you know, it'll fix a lot of things. Now, Mother Teresa's vibration was around like 750. So she was a little bit off the charts. If you look at it, you know, she manifested helping millions of people with millions of dollars. So she didn't really have any blocks on, you know, manifesting things.
Yeah.
Her energy catalyzed a lot of really cool things, you know, showing up. So that's like just some of the research. But, you know, there's other research about like Maharishi. He took a group of meditators. They put feel-good, lover above kind of energy into a society, and then they had studies that showed that the crime went down, the stock market was more profitable. So there's been other studies that prove that one person kind of operating from lover above can positively impact a surrounding.
Wow.
I know, it's exciting. So it's like, you know, people say, how do I change the world? Well, you actually just change you.
Right. Which actually, that makes me ask you, how do we do that? Because I know that people listening, they feel stuck. So, you know, they've read personal development books and they've gone through programs and it's had an impact, and that's fantastic. But for some reason they can't seem to remove whatever it is that's blocking them. And I know that you say there is, you know, the most common block that keeps most of us stuck. So how do we do this? How do we start to change our vibration, so to speak?
It's going to sound contradictory how I'm going to say this, but
okay.
If you're operating from a higher vibration, you're willing to be aware of anything. So it goes back to this whole truth thing, being willing to live in truth, right? And truth is not just somebody's opinion. Like, there is that truth where it's just my opinion. But I'm talking about
right.
truth with a capital T, where it just is. And if you have, like, if somebody has in their field, like, you know, the guy that I helped, you know, I always say, I don't say I ever really say I healed him. I always look at it like I just was a catalyzer that pulled some energy out, but he chose the experience, and I just happened to kind of come in.
Right.
So, yeah, I never look at it like I healed. I just kind of showed up. Because he let it go. He didn't have to, you know?
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, what I was doing is I was, like, finding all the dense energies in his field. So when a client comes to me, what I'm doing is I'm actually looking for the bad. You know, people are sometimes afraid of the bad, and they only do the positive manifestation, the positive affirmations. Well, the reason those don't work is if you're not willing to look at where it's dark or heavy in your energy field and find that, then it'll just keep sticking there like a record player on skip. And then you keep doing all your good positive affirmations, but that you still have this other resonance in you that's going, I'm sorry, you can't have that. I'm sorry, you can't have that. I'm sorry, you know, you can't have that. And that would be one of the lower emotions, like that we talked about, guilt, shame, fear, whatever, that's just somehow stuck in your energy field. So I had this client, Carolina, and for instance, she could not get her love life to work at all. She'd been divorced. She wasn't attracting very good men, you know, all the bad boys. So she was, you know, frustrated because she's like, I'm doing the work. What am I not doing? What am I not doing? Basically, I went into her field, and I found that there was this place in her where, and this is, again, you have to understand, I didn't know this, but I said, what's the deal with your dad must have left you or something when you're young because there's this weird loss or abandonment or something. And she's like, yeah. Well, why does it feel like it's there at 2 years old, but it's there at like 18? She goes, that's so weird. He did leave me twice because he left her life when she was younger. She imprinted her mom's junk about love, you know, because her mom is thinking, oh, my God, now I have like 2 kids and, you know, no husband, right? So her mom's kind of vibing all these lower negative vibrations. Kids totally love and adore their moms and need to get fed and clothed, so she soaked all her mom's energy in so she could get love, right? Then he shows up in her life like later on when she's around 18. They had some disagreement or something because he was still like a little boy, you know, not taking responsibility for anything, and then he like left her again. Here she is like 30-something, And she can't get love in her life, like love always leaves her. But it's really this earlier imprint that she took in. It's not like she's a bad person, right? Because people would say, well, why do bad things happen to good people? She just happened to be around that energy, and she soaked it in. And then that kept playing out in her life. I've even seen it so weird that people would get divorced at the same age their mom or dad did, the exact age, and they don't even correlate it because now they're just thinking, my life doesn't work, I don't get it. But some of these things are actually really literally traceable to around the same ages that your mom and dad were feeling those kind of emotions and stuff. Once we pulled that out of her field, all those incidences and all those little energy ties that were tied there, and added the higher vibrations, right, because it's like pull it out, fill in with the good stuff, then she could manifest a man. And so in a weird way, it wasn't her fault, in some ways, but she still has to take responsibility for what she accidentally soaked in, otherwise she'll just keep repeating the same patterns.
Right. Is there a way that we can do that where we clear the old low vibrational programming? I mean, is that something that we're able to do on our own?
Yeah, so that's what my whole thing was. I was going, God, how do I, when I was first connecting a light in my life worked, what am I doing? How do I help other people do it? What I found is we have to start looking around, for lack of a better way to put them, I call them our higher selves and our lower self.
Okay.
And our higher self is the big part of us, the part of us that knows everything. It's the part of us that we all have at a soul level where we're like, I know I'm more powerful than all of this. I know there's something more. It's the higher part of you calling to you saying, hey, hook up to me. Just hook up. I'll help you. And by literally connecting to that higher part of you that's totally wise, totally aware, it'll start showing you as a gift to you where you're blocked. When people get the same lesson over and over and over again, it's really a gift from the higher part of them saying, hey, honey, you have this weird pattern over here. Why don't you just clear it? Please clear it. Then I won't have to keep bringing it to you to show you. Then there's the other part, and I call it the lower selves, because in my mind's eye when I'm working on people, I see these little parts of people. It's kind of just probably my way of scoping it out. That are kind of stuck back at 2 years old being mad, or stuck at 10 years old being antagonistic, or stuck at 16 years old being fearful, And these lower selves, they just have this energy kind of tangled around them of the pattern that was created around that part of them. So you just have to find these lower selves, and that's why I teach tools and techniques to do that, so it's easy for people. One of the things that most people say about me is, even though we're talking about a spiritual thing that might be a little weird to people, I break it down in such a no-nonsense way that anybody can do it. So we find these lower selves, and we send basically a lot of love or above energy towards them, and they just start letting go of all those lower fields of energy. And they start in kind of, you see them kind of grow up in a way, and they become part of your higher ideal. Yeah, people kind of feel this, too, when you talk to them. There's this part of themselves that I feel like I'm always sabotaging myself, or I feel like I'm always fighting. Some part of me is always fighting me. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I did it anyway. That part is actually one of your lower selves kind of creating some chaos or sabotage or weird kind of energy in you. And again, it's not trying to torture you or punish you. It's just trying to say, hey, can you wake up a little bit and pay attention to me? and then I'll get integrated, and then I'll go away, and then I won't sabotage your life anymore. So I'm trying to show everybody that at the end of the day, it's all a gift. Your soul is really just honestly trying to help you. It's not trying to, basically pick on you. And, I have a lot of clients who say, God, I thought I dealt with that issue. But again, what people kind of have to look at it like, when you're growing up and you hear your mom and dad, let's just say, complaining about money or something. We don't have any money. Quit asking me for money. Money grows on trees. I don't have any, right? You don't believe that the very first time you hear it, because it's kind of like a fearful energy. But if you've heard it 100 times, somewhere, maybe the 50th time, it soaks in. And when it soaks in, you've now just bought and sold that belief to yourself. Somewhere you caved into it. You believe it. Now it becomes part of your field, and you can be resonating with it and consciously you might be saying, well, I don't believe that I can't have money, because the conscious, fully healed part of you is like, of course I can have money, right?
Right.
and the unconscious part of you that heard it a million times and soaked it in somewhere doesn't believe it. So that's a lower self, and the lower self is going to just keep flagging you down and showing you. I always laugh at people when they say, they're tired of working on themselves, and I'm like, good luck with that, because your soul is just going to keep showing you your stuff until somewhere you just heal it. Which is add higher vibration, add love or light to the lower part of you that's kind of acting up. I mean, that's really what it is at the end of the day.
Wow. And I know you say there are 5 key areas of our life that the 2 versions of ourselves impact. What are those key areas?
There's our love life, because at the end of the day, the basic prime part of us just wants to be loved. And if you're in your lower self, in that part of your love life, you will push away love. Like, there might be some unconscious vibrations of guilt or shame, and you push away love, like, I don't get to have it, I'm bad, I'm not right, I'm not enough, mommy doesn't love me. Because maybe mom and dad have other things going on, and they weren't all the way healed, when they had you, right? And then there's living in the higher self, where you just attract love. It becomes part of your reality that you deserve things. You let yourself have. And when I'm talking about love, if that's your choice, but I'm also talking about deeply and soulfully, really adoring yourself so much that you let yourself have what's good for you, just a really deeper self-confidence that comes from knowing that all is well. The person that, again, attracts the person that's not so good for them, or a little abusive or condescending or mean or angry or whatever, then obviously they have some resonance of that being normal, like a definition of normal love. You're going to have to clear that out so that you don't attract that same person. How many people say, oh, I married my mom or my dad, because you just married the pattern. And funny enough, people will be chemically attracted to that. There will be the chemistry thing. When somebody says I have chemistry, I'm always a little worried, because there's two things with chemistry. If you're living at love or above, then chemistry is, you're following what feels good to you, right? But if you're living at love and below, and you're following chemistry, I'm always a little worried, because you could be just attracting the same pattern that you're used to. And
right.
You think that that's the good person for you until, 2 months later or whatever. And then there's the money part of your life, wealth and abundance. So if you're living from the lower part of yourself, you might struggle to make ends meet, or you associate struggling and being poor with noble or holy or good or spiritual. But the vibration of guilt with that, you can't have spiritual and be money, kind of shuts off the flow of money, and it just attracts a harder life. Again, I go back to Mother Teresa. She really didn't have a block on manifesting money. If you're in your higher self, the flow of money is open to you. You don't look at money as, you don't really label it as good or bad. You just see it as an energy tool that facilitates, freedom, generosity, compassion, fun for your family, good for your community. So it's just kind of a feel-good energy. And then we talked a little bit about relationships, and not just love relationships, but I'm talking about relationships with everybody in your life, so that you have friends and you attract. If you're living in lower vibrations, you'll probably attract friends who are kind of drama mamas and problems. Have you ever noticed that people, when they have those kind of lower friendships, all they do is they get around and complain about things, or complain about their husband, or complain about this, and But if you have higher vibrational relationships, it'll be supportive, fun. How can I help you? It's mutually expanding, right? So I choose my friends by, do they expand my energy, or do they contract? Are they needy, or are they, generous and giving and know that all is well? Because if you hang out with people like that, I can guarantee you'll make, everything in your life will be way more fun and profitable if you surround yourself with expanded, kind of lever above people versus contracted people. Contracted people can kind of suck your energy, a little vampire-y. And then there's the area of career. If you're living like the lower vibrations of a career, you'll probably just choose something that just kind of fits, but you might wake up every day and think, oh my God, I got to go to work. Versus, oh wow, I get to go do something that I love to do. If you're doing it 8 hours a day, hopefully you would love some part of it or feel good about that part. If you're doing lower vibrations like in health, that's the other key area. When we have lower vibrations stuck in our body, like anger, fear, grief, all those things, I have noticed a correlation in my line of work. When you're in those lower vibrations, your body usually doesn't feel very healthy. So it seems like as the main emotion that you're running just gets caught in your energy field and gets caught in your body. I look at a body like a pet. It's like this thing that we should love and nurture. And if we all talk to our body the same way we talk to our pets, everybody loves their pets. So that would be great. So, if you're in lover above energy, you'll take care of your body. You'll feed it what it wants. You'll give it good food. You'll love it. You'll exercise it. You'll do all the, the feel good things with it. So that's the 5 key areas of a life that I've noted we can all kind of look at our life. And some people might have one part of their life that's more blocked. Some people might be like, oh, I have amazing relationships. I just don't have money, So then they have somehow more density around that part of their life, or more lower selves around that part of their life. Interesting. So, yeah.
So you can have different energy vibrations in the different key areas of your life.
Yeah. So I actually, when a client first comes to me, and I teach this in my my Lover Above course, where I teach you guys how to get to the truth of things, and you can calibrate where your vibration is. What I have people do is calibrate the different parts of their life, and then calibrate their life as a whole. So on that scale of 0 to 1,000, 1,000 being enlightened, where do I vibrate from? Do I vibrate over 500? And then you get a yes or a no. And then you just keep asking questions until you find where your vibration is. So it's really interesting. So somebody could calibrate. I've seen this happen where people calibrate it total guilt and shame about money and, totally be fine with relationships.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing that we can all do on a daily basis that would have the greatest impact on the kind of life we want to manifest, I know that's a really general question, but is there one thing that you could say, okay, if you just do one thing, this will help you raise your vibration? What would you say?
You have to connect to the Lover Above energetic frequency and live there from a daily basis. So it's a connection thing. So imagine you take a big electrical cord and you plug in. But what we're really plugging into is we're plugging into what's freely available to all of us, which is just pure consciousness itself. But I teach people a way that once they're connected, most people can feel it. There's a palpable shift when you're fully connected. We're going to do a little meditation later so you guys will know how to connect. But 30% of the people might not feel it. And if you can't feel a difference, then what that means is you're kind of blocked, because what happens is if anybody grew up with childhood trauma or drama and all that stuff, what happens is you start building these walls around you. Some people actually can't feel when they're connected to light because they had to sort of numb and dumb themselves so that they didn't have to feel all the weird, lower, negative vibrations that were around them. If you're truly opened up all the way, people are really sensitive and intuitive, and you can feel, you walk into a room and you can feel if somebody was fighting or you can feel if somebody was loving, right?
True.
And that feeling, we're all capable of that. We all have multiple senses that we can do that. And so the trick is, if somebody's doing the meditation later and they can't feel it, that means that for sure, you really have to start working on, clearing some of your blocks, because somehow you've put these barriers around you. Imagine it's like an onion or something, for lack of a better way to say it. We keep putting these walls up, and that's going to block your manifesting. And this whole series is about manifesting. If you can't have something in your life, I can guarantee you that you have like some walls or resistance kind of built up around that subject, or some lower selves that are blocking you, for sure. So it's really about connecting to the higher frequency, and there's a specific technique that we can do, and you have to let that energy vibrate in you pretty much 24/7. And what will happen is your soul will keep bringing up all the places where you're blocked to keep showing it to you, and until you send lover above frequencies to it to kind of blast it away. So it's kind of exciting once we could look at it from an empowered place. I think a lot of people look at their life, I can't make this happen. What am I doing wrong? It's disempowering, because at the end of the day, we all know just deeply that we are an infinite being and we should be able to fix things.
Right.
but we might not have the exact tools or the know-how or the where to look. I will say, in working on over 10,000 people, what I really got, every business person told me, don't do that. That's crazy. What are you doing? But the reason I did it is because it was fun to me. Number one, I only do things that are fun. And number two, I got the cliff notes of where to look inside somebody. I can literally look into somebody's soul and see where their blocks are. And so now, because I did that, my gift is I want to teach everybody else where to look and how to find all those things, so that they, it's like you guys all get the cliff notes now.
Right.
Yeah, of where your stuff is.
Wow.
How to get rid of it.
That's awesome. I love that. So actually, is this a good time? It seems like a natural time, and I know people are probably like, I want to do the meditation. So is that something we could do right now?
Yeah, that would be great.
Very cool.
Okay. All right. So, obviously, if somebody is driving, I'm going to tell you to close your eyes, but please don't close your eyes. Please pull over if you're going to do that, or just follow along, but don't go too deeply into it. So, and the reason I'm saying close your eyes, because I think we can be connected without closing our eyes, but I want you guys to just have a palpable feeling of it. So just close your eyes. Take your energy up about 300 feet above your head, like literally just kind of take your awareness up about 300 feet, and I can kind of feel the group. And so I'm going to ask the group to go a little bit higher to feel like and there's a dimension. So just imagine it's like a dimension where you can see, sense, or feel the light. Okay. And now that you can see, sense, or feel the light, let the light in. So imagine there's a big doorway, and you just let this light start coming into your crown, the top of your head, and ask this light to kind of like a little tornado in a way, just kind of clear away any debris that's blocking you from receiving, knowing, awareness, clarity, enlightenment. And then let this light come into your head. So go into your third eye, opening up all the little blocks where you can't see. Just kind of see the light kind of going in and melting all those little things away. Let the light come into your ears, kind of clearing up anywhere you can't hear your higher self, your true knowledge. Let the light come into your throat, kind of opening up all the communication centers. Our throat's the narrowest part of our body in a way, but a lot of communication gets blocked here. So let the light come in and just open up all the communication centers. Okay, cool. Anywhere you are fearful of communicating truth, fearful of letting yourself know the truth, just kind of clear that there. Let the light come into your heart and kind of radiate down your hands and arms, and kind of maybe make the light a little liquidy here, and to see it kind of filling in your heart, kind of washing away all the places where you might be a little hurt or feeling a little neglected or feeling a little abandoned or feeling a little like nobody cares for you or you don't care anymore, to see it washing away all of those things. Let the light come into the center of your abdomen, your solar plexus, and ask the light to just kind of open up anywhere you feel fearful or sucker punched or stopped or blocked or mad about it and can't take it anymore. Then let the light come into the to your, like right behind your navel area, and just kind of fill in there with all the places you don't trust your power, that you can be powerful, that you can stand on your own 2 feet, that you can feel good about who you are. So clear any shame, guilt, lower vibrations there. Allow the light to go into your roots, clearing away anything that blocks you from just fully, kind of like an oak tree, just being rooted in who you are. Just knowing fully, I'm an infinite being. I deserve everything in my life to be exactly how I want it. Just from a knowing place. And allow the light to come down your legs, down your feet, and then just connect into the middle of the planet. So just see it more as a dimension in the middle of the planet. There's like this really cool dimension. Some people see it as a crystal. Some people see it like a doorway. There's like a little doorway in the center of the planet that just feels like Mother's love that, is supportive and nurturing and kind and lets you have anything. I felt like this deep breath that the whole group just took. That's awesome. Because once you tap into that frequency right there, a lot of people finally feel connected, like not disjointed in some way, but really connected. And once you feel that vibration, then I want you to just imagine that it wants to give you a gift, and imagine it kind of sends the light right back up your body, straight into your heart. So now you're connected from above and below. And in your heart, I want you to just imagine like a great sunshine. So from your heart center, like a big sunshine is there, and it radiates light out 360 degrees all the way around you. Yes. And let this light just kind of expand past, like if you're in a house, like past the building you're in. If you're in a car, past your car. Let the light radiate out past the city you're in, kind of filling it with total love, total consciousness, total compassion, total connectedness. Okay, and let the light expand past your state, just sending lots of love and light to everybody in your state, asking them to kind of awaken and be a little more conscious. And so you can kind of see when you're doing this that we're really all connected at some level. So you might as well send love and blessings. And then allow this light to just expand past the country you're in. And allow this light to expand past the planet. So now you're, believe it or not, connected to your higher self, okay? Because when we're willing to be that expanded, we're willing to connect to the highest part of ourself. Now, from this place, it's okay to invite into your life that which you want to have manifest. So pick a couple of things that you want to have it bring in, and I want you to just imagine that you're surrounding the earth, and somebody on this planet or something or some idea can be gifted to you right now in order to help you manifest that which you want. So if you want to bring in extra cash, ask that all the people, places, thoughts, ideas, feelings that are needed to show up in your life for that to manifest, ask them to show up now. If you want to manifest more love in your life, ask that all the people, places, thoughts, ideas, and feelings show up in your life now in order for that to manifest. Again, I can feel like the whole group kind of breathe into that. Okay? And now let's ask if there's some part of your life that you just feel like it's always crappy, it always sucks, I don't want this anymore. So wherever that is in your field, I want you to just kind of go to wherever you're generally drawn. It might be in front of you, it might be behind you, it might be to the right. Might be to the left, but feel where that junk is. And if you don't know, the higher part of you does know, and then just ask for that to release. Send a lot of light to it and just say, thank you for showing me where you are, but I don't need you anymore. We are done. Thank you, though. Okay, awesome. And then just fill in with a lot of light and love of whatever the opposite of that would be, right? So if you were blocked in like money, then just fill that back in with how much you want a month or how much you want a year or how much you want right now. Okay, and then I want you all to just think that I love myself enough to let myself have this. I totally adore and love myself enough to let myself have this. I totally adore and love myself enough to let myself have this. Okay, and one more big whoosh. I just ask for all the people, places, things, thoughts, and ideas to show up right now, okay, in your field, connected to you now. That'll just manifest in your life with ease. So whatever it is that you want to manifest, just you have it now, pull it into you, the people, places, thoughts, ideas. And then one more time, just clear away anything that's in the way of that. Okay, good. And then when you guys are ready, then just open your eyes. And just know that any time of the morning, just if you always stay connected to this frequency and always clear the denseness out and ask for what you want and clear the junk and pull in what you want. And it's kind of like a little happy dance between clearing and pulling in, clearing and pulling in, clearing and pulling in. Yeah, and I have some other tools to like kind of fine-tune things, but this is the easiest way to just show, people generally.
It's fantastic, and it does. It feels so natural almost to do that, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Could you feel that a little bit, Kristen? Like
Absolutely.
a peacefulness that kind of just comes over?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel lighter, I guess is the best way I can put it.
Yeah, because light is truth. So who we are actually feels like this. Like if we're really just being us, we feel light. So anything that makes us go cranky, angry, dense, unhappy, whatever, that's like a denseness in our field. If we clear all those stories, thoughts, ideas, and old junk, you're clearing away what's blocking you from manifesting what you deserve, basically.
And so when we find ourselves, something happens during the day and we don't necessarily even know why we're suddenly feeling fearful or off or whatever, is that really we can just flow that light to it, that sort of thing, and it will help clear it and raise our vibration?
Yes, for sure. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that's really it. Eventually what happens is you live with this insistence. It's kind of an insistence that you never have to deal with that kind of energy. Like as soon as that stuff comes into my field, I just clear it out in 2 seconds. The more sensitive you get, you'll find that a lot of the stuff you're feeling isn't even yours because you also are picking it up from your environment.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I remember one time I was driving, and I couldn't go any faster because there was cars in front of me, but there was this driver behind me, and I kept feeling his energy like literally hit me in the head because he was he wanted to like pass everybody. And that's when I really got it. I was like, gosh, how many things am I thinking that aren't even mine? Right. Because I watched my energy get all angry and tense, and I'm like, wow, this is like really weird. I'm even getting tense, but it's his energy kind of pushing against my body in the car behind me. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
That's such a good point, and something that's amazing for all of us to just be aware of is how often it's not even ours. That's such a great way of saying that.
Yeah. So that's why I teach people, and one of my tools in my toolkit is teaching people how to send blessings a certain kind of way that you can change everybody around you.
Wow, that's great.
Because if we're thinking thoughts, why don't we just send good ones,
Right, exactly. You teach so much, and it's amazing what you're doing and what you're giving to everyone in terms of what you teach and what you share. Could you take a few minutes and are there one or two stories of transformation? You've already shared some with us. I'm going to ask you for one or two more of people who have applied what you work with them on and they've transformed. Are there any things that you can think of that are like, wow, this is a perfect example of how when you use this, you can manifest what you desire?
Yeah. So I have a client, Lawrence, and he was using the tools, and he's a lawyer. What he did was he decided that one of my tools is, I call it the blessing ball of light, but I teach you guys how to bless things into your life. So he used the tool, and he blessed his file cabinets. Now, what his file cabinets represent in his world is clients. Like he's the kind of lawyer, he works for hospitals and things like that, and if the hospitals aren't getting paid, he sends letters, goes kind of after the insurance companies to pay the hospital. The file cabinets represented money that needed to be paid. So he would bless them, and he figured out, like, basically within, I don't remember if it was a month or 6 weeks, but it was within a short amount of time, he basically doubled his income working half the hours. So he used to work, 40, 50, 60 hours, and within a very short amount of time, literally doubled his income, and he worked half the hours.
Wow.
kind of shows you that money and manifesting is really just energy. So he had a lawyer partner, and she was so upset because he kept coming in late, and then he kept, like, beating all her numbers, and she was getting so pissed because he had the easy life, because he's just, like, sitting there for 15 minutes, half hour blessing his file cabinets, and the money starts coming in. And what happened, though, is it was kind of a great lesson for her because now she actually works less. He goes, I'm so proud of her because now she takes time off, has a life, now has a boyfriend. So one person, Lawrence, kind of doing this in his office, literally he's like changed like all these people around him because he's living from higher vibrations and they want to know what he's doing. And so they come to him for advice because somehow they know that he knows something they don't know, which is like really cool. So he's changed lots of people's lives. So he's one of my favorite stories. Another girl, and a lot of moms could probably resonate with this. Leslie was a new mom. It was her second child. First child, no problem. Second child, all of a sudden she says, Christy, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I am like a psycho mom. I am a crazy, crazy B word. And she goes, honestly, I can't control it, and I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, she was coming to me because she knew, she's like, I don't know what happened. Using the tools, she worked on herself. I worked on her because she had just finally met me, and she came across my thing, and she wanted extra help. What happened is the energy, what triggered for some reason is she became her mom. So oftentimes, have you ever noticed that people get married and then they become like their mom or dad, but before then they were like the girlfriend, boyfriend? It's like they changed. Or they become a mom and then they start parenting like their mom or dad because all those programs that you never cleared just got kicked in. So what happened is I said, Leslie, did your mom kind of act like this? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so you're living your mom's vibration, but you never cleared it. So we cleared it. She says she's totally different. Later on, her daughter basically, kissed and hugged her, the one that was like older. Her one daughter was avoiding her. She was breaking up with her husband. This was like a lot of chaos, right? Within a short amount of time, she's moving out. So basically what happened is her and her husband are getting along. She's not crazy anymore. She manifested like a whole new life because she said, gosh, if it's so easy, I want to go help other moms because all my friends are like this. She said, so I want to like learn these tools so I can go help other people really get that it's, if you have the right tools, you can change it really quickly. So that became her mission in life. That's what she does for a living now.
Wow.
She uses these tools to help transform other moms because she's like, honey, you don't have to live like that. And then she has a great story, too, because she doesn't live like that anymore.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just energy because once the energy is gone, you don't have to live the way you were living because it's not in you anymore. Like once the energy is gone, it's gone.
we could sit here and talk about this all day and never get through it all, because it's so amazing and so full and so pertinent to what I know everybody who's listening is dealing with. I know I asked you to put something special together for everybody. So, I know everybody's going there now. So what are we going to find?
Okay. So I'm a cut-to-the-chase girl, and I really like to give people lots of different angles in which to get energies out. Because, again, working on so many people, I found that there are really weird angles that you have to find stuff with that you never knew you should look there. I even have a lot of intuitive people, and healers come to me, because sometimes they can't even find those weird little angles in themselves, because that's why I did so many tools. The first tool is muscle testing, where I teach you guys how to calibrate yourself on that scale so you can learn exactly where you're living at. And the cool thing about applied kinesiology / muscle testing is you can start asking questions about your future, like, am I right with the right partner for me? Or, if I take this job, will I be happy? You can use it for lots of different things where you just need truth. If I send my kid to the school, will it be nurturing or rewarding for my kid, or will they hate it? Is it really in my kid's highest and best path for them to do this? And so you can ask all those kind of questions, which for me saves a lot of time, because why? I don't know how people live an unguided life, because with these tools you can actually use your intuition, ask really cool questions and get answers, and then know what to do in your life, kind of like a shortcut. So tool number 2 is the art of asking questions, because there is really an art. You have to phrase it the right way in order to get an answer. I had this one lady, she was asking, is this the right partner for me? But the problem was she had this pattern of abuse. She kept getting that this one guy was right for her, and she was kind of emailing me back and forth, and I'm like, honey, he's not right for you. I'm sorry. He's duh, come on. You know what I mean? He's married. He's every bad thing. But she goes, but I'm muscle testing it. I'm getting it right. Yeah, but that's because you have to clear that vibration that makes abuse right. So if she'd asked a better question, is he when I'm truly living in my highest version of me, would he be a good mate, right? That's a better question. She would have got a no. So there's really a technique to asking really good questions. Then I have the wisdom meditation, where we connect a little bit more to our infinite self, like we did today. But I also show you guys how to ask your wise self, your infinitely wise self questions and get answers. Yeah, so it's all about living in truth, and getting answers. Tool number 4, I help you guys connect to your guides, because there are certain guides, like the guides that showed up in my living room. They literally did they taught me how to help people a lot. So wouldn't it be cool if you could have certain guidance that's open to you that could help you? Tool number 5, one of my favorite, energy detox, because here's the deal. How many people listening literally clean up their energy every day? We take a shower every day. If you're not clearing up your energy every day, I can tell you got stuff in there that is not yours and could be yours, both, that really needs to go. And it could be just making you cranky and unhappy, and you think there's something wrong with you, but maybe it's an energy in your field. Tool number 6, I call it energy radar, because it helps you guys become immune to the negative energies. People always ask me, Christy, do you ever pull into your field, because you're so light, does evil attack you? And I said, no, because I don't have that in my field, right? I'm not resonating that, so it doesn't show up. So I teach you guys how to basically become immune to things like that. Yeah, so tool number 7, cord-cutting meditation. This is one of my favorites, because I've had profound stories from people sending me emails. One lady, she goes, you can share the story of what happened for me. She goes, I need profound signs from the universe, otherwise I don't believe them. So what happened is, she was like Earth Mama in that she had a family, she had an office, she took care of 30-something employees, and so she did the meditation where she cut the people who are draining her out of her field, because people will connect into people who are light because they want, instead of connecting to source themselves, they'll connect to the people so they get light from the person instead of connecting to source themselves. That's kind of what goes on. So she cut the energy cords, and she goes, and I asked the universe, please show me in a really, really, really big way that I have all my power back. All my lights are turned on, you know. So she walked downstairs, like 2 seconds later after, you know, she got up, walked downstairs. She gets within 5 feet of her sliding door in the back, and it shatters. Like the whole door shattered. And she didn't touch it. It was honestly her field of energy. And
wow.
So, yeah, but she goes, again, I asked for a really big sign. She goes, I don't think that'll happen for everybody, but, you know, that's what happened for me. But she even sent me the photos because she was so amazed. Her just cutting all these people out. She goes, literally, I probably pulled out of my energy field 20-something people, you know, that were all connected to her. And she goes, and I honestly feel, she said peaceful and sane. Like, you know, all those weird little thoughts she had in her head, she said are gone. And
wow.
She realized that it was all the people kind of connected to her. Yeah, so tool number 8 is the vision board energizer. I teach you guys, if anybody's ever done a vision board and it didn't work, I teach you a couple of techniques and tools to make it work for you. Tool number 9, I teach you how to make things happen quick. Everybody who knows me knows I am a make everything happen now kind of girl. Usually my manifestations, if I put them out, usually happen within a couple of weeks, you know, at the latest, but there's a way that I do it that asks for everything to show up quickly. Tool number 10, I teach people how to get more in their heart space, a little bit like we did today, because once you're tapped into that space and you're really resonating with that lover above energy, smooths out a lot of things into your future. Tool number 11, the blessing ball of light, which I used with Lawrence, the lawyer used. Blessing his file cabinet, making double the money in half the time. Love it. Tool number 12, you know, I teach you how to like help create really cool bonds and, you know, basically with your family. The reason I actually did this toolkit originally, it was called the Spiritual Toolkit for You and Your Family. Because you have to understand, when I'm seeing somebody in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and their life doesn't work, generally speaking, where the first place it was programmed into them to not work was before the age of 7. So I thought, wow, what if I do a toolkit where I help parents really, really honestly get that how to raise kids in a very conscious way and an empowered way so that their kids don't have to call like somebody like me and 20, 30, 40 years later, basically. And so that's honestly why I did this, was just because I want people to be so empowered and not put their junk in their kids so their kids can just go live a really happy life. You know, for me, it's all about, like, future generations just being totally conscious, knowing how to manifest things, knowing that there's plenty for everybody to go around, being connected to the light, knowing that there's solutions. You know, what if a bunch of people were really, really fully connected and could figure out ways to fix world problems, you know? So it's really like, I see this as a bigger picture thing that can go on in future generations, because if, anybody listening who's a mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or wants to have a family, any of those things, or even if you're just single, but you have friends, you have your community, you have your workmates, right? But if you're like living from a higher vibration, teaching other people these tools, it's going to change your community around you. And again, I always said I wanted to have friends who were willing to play with me, like who are abundant and free and fun, and so in a way it upgrades your friends and family, and things become a lot more light. I mean, I get so many emails from parents saying, my 3-year-old uses these tools I teach them to do, and the little 3-year-old cleared herself in like 2 seconds. So I thought,
that's amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
You're giving everybody so many tools. So let me ask you this, and I love that you said, you're a manifest things now kind of gal. So we're similar in that. Okay, so it's pretty much whatever you're looking to manifest, if you're doing this and really taking it seriously, so to speak, even though you seem to do everything with a sense of fun, which I love, you should start seeing results pretty quickly.
Yeah, I do things with fun, but I'm also very intentional. So,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I get so many stories from people just saying, seriously, I even had people manifest like $7,000 ticket to something after just listening to like the free things.
So
Yeah.
cool.
It's intentionality. If like everybody listening, try it out. There's a 30-day refund, so you could just try it out. If there's some part of it that resonates with you, that's really honestly your higher self saying, "Oh, come on, honey, this is your wake-up call. This is your answer that you've been looking for. Here's some tools so you can shift what you're in the middle of." That's how I really believe our higher part of us operates. It just kind of wakes us up and makes people show up where they need the information.
That's great. So there's actually nothing to lose because you've guaranteed it. You've very generously given extra time here today, and I so appreciate that. Is there anything you want to share with us just as some parting words before we go?
Yeah. So first off, I looked. It's 90 days actually. So seriously,
Wow.
You can use it for 3 months. Again, everybody listening, if some part of this resonated with you, it's not about quote quote buying a toolkit. This is actually the higher part of you saying, this is truly the answer or the awareness or the knowledge that you need so that you can actually go live your life the way you want it. Because everybody who's here literally wants something to happen in their life. I literally have thousands of testimonials from people sending me emails, and even I am totally flabbergasted and amazed at how cool it is when people release their blocks, what they actually pull into their life. It's anything from, as funny as it sounds, like one lady manifested $1 million. They were trying to rent out office spaces. They'd been previously blocked on it for like a year and a half. They were losing everything and used the toolkit and manifested the places rented, which was worth $1 million to their bottom line, and saved the whole family business. I mean, so it can be anything from a small result to a really big result just from using these tools. I don't know. If anybody listening, I would just say a yes to it, and if you don't like it, you can send it back, but, there's no risk.
That's clear that your intention is so strongly to actually help everybody clear whatever it is that's getting in the way, and I think, that comes across and is so apparent, and that's why I was so excited to have you here. So thank you for all of the time that you've given, all of the knowledge, the tips. I mean, you gave so much in this one call that I'm amazed and so very grateful for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's totally my pleasure, and again, that's really what I'm all about, is I just want to have a lot of happy people on the planet, live and love her above.
Fantastic.
Making it all nice for everybody.
Perfect. So, raise your own vibration and you raise the vibration of everybody around you as well. Again, Christie, thank you so much for joining us, and until the next time we speak, keep doing what you're doing because it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Ciao, everybody.
Absolutely.
Love you guys.